Hey there, you wonderful listeners. I have a question for you. Do you want to make a podcast? Well, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money all in one place and for free. How can you beat that? It's called Spotify for Podcasters. And here is how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, there are Q&A and poll options available, and those are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I've discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it has made doing my shows like the Steam Machine Podcast, Yabs Pod, and the JRPG Report much, much easier to do. Like being able to just go on there, record them, upload it, boom, it's done. I don't have to pay for a site service to host or anything like that. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always are my good buddies.
Yo, it's Nate.
Hey, it's Billy. What's good?
And this week we dove into some dreams, had some nightmares, and fought some bad guys. But before we get to that, gentlemen, how are you doing this week?
Man, I'm doing really good. So I remember on last stream we kind of talked about how I'd started my speedrunning journey. Well, shortly after that episode, I did a stream where I actually did get a personal best, and I'm now tied for 4th place in the world with Speedrunning Predator. So,
cue the Ric Flair woo.
Woo!
Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped up about that. It was a really cool experience. I had a lot of people in chat while that happened, and everybody made that really special for me, so I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. That's awesome, dude.
It was a lot of fun to watch. Your enthusiasm and your genuine, I don't know, man. There was a sense of real triumph when you actually got the run to finally come together continuous. It was really awesome to be there for it.
I'm excited because I still feel like I have a lot of work to put in the game, and I'm going to. But I'm also starting to think I really want to come up with a second game to speedrun. I just have to kind of decide what that is because I'm not sure even in the slightest. So any ideas, share them on the Discord. You can find
I'm guessing it's not going to be Terminator 2.
But you can find the Discord and help me with that if you want to at the steammachinepodcast.wordpress.com and click the Discord link and give me some advice.
Yeah.
Early plugs.
And as you were doing that, I swear I just cracked my knuckle so hard on the corner of my desk. That's why I was like, oh, I was giving you thumbs up for doing the plug, and when I dropped my hand, it just destroyed it. Oh, that hurt so bad.
I thought you were just really into him doing the plug. He was shaking his fist yeah.
Well, yeah, what about you, Willie?
It's like he's about to roll some dice. Man, I've been tired. I don't know. It's coming out of summer right now. I've been a little oversleeping and waking up with a few too few, sunlight hours left in the day. So that's not great, but I got up early today. I'm going to try to get some, lunch and dinner shifts to go in the next few weeks, few days, because I'd like to save up money for a thing coming up fairly soon. And I've got a couple bills to pay also. So just going to keep on keeping on, but kind of at that phase where I'm just kind of, hanging in there.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I've been real tired lately too for some reason. I was able to score another job, and I start tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. It's in another kitchen. It's a seafood grill.
that's like well established, so it's not a new place by any means. And it's from what I can tell is a very popular restaurant. So I got my working boots strapped on for tomorrow because I'm probably gonna get my ass handed to me, getting used to everything, and it'll be interesting though. It'll be interesting. It's a little further drive, but it's a little more money, so kind of makes up for it.
It's a little bit more money, and I'm sure that you won't be as worried about getting your hours cut to absolute zero. I mean, as far as you know, aren't you still employed at the other place?
Yeah, as far as I know, like they could just like hit me up at any time and be like, "Hey, you want to come in?" I'm just gonna be like, "No, go fuck yourself." Like,
well, I mean, at least you build up some endurance, some practice standing on your boots all day, so
Yeah.
at least that's going to be helpful. You know, it sucks getting you completely clean your clock the first day you're in like a warehouse or other kind of standing up job.
yeah, I'm just hoping that they have those. Are they stress
Anti-fatigue
mat?
pads?
Yeah, those. Because thank you. I was gonna call them stress mats, but I'm like, that's not right. Yeah, the anti-fatigue pads, man. Because I had one of those back there in our dish room, and it made a huge difference.
Yeah, I don't know why those work. I can't understand. You're still standing all day, but your legs really don't just give out as early as they would. I feel
It's
like.
weird. It's like instead of standing on something solid, there's just the slightest bit of cushion to it. So it's almost like, I guess it doesn't put as much pressure on your knees and back. I really don't know how it
maybe
works,
it's
but
that.
God, I'm fucking thankful they exist.
No, that makes sense. Maybe it's more related to joint impact than anything else. I would buy that.
I mean, that's just what I thought. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And before we get into the show, there's a couple things I wanted to touch on. First and foremost, shout out to Jeff. You the man.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
Also, if you would like a shout out, you can go to our Patreon at thesteammachinepodcast.patreon.com, or is it no? It's patreon.com/steammachinepodcast. Yeah, these websites need to choose a format and just pick, because it's like I'm always getting them backwards. But yeah,
Well, all of our links are at the WordPress.
if you go to our website, steammachinepodcast.wordpress.com, like Nate had already mentioned, then all of the links are there. But there is a tier that you can subscribe to, and you get a shout out every episode if that's your thing. So just check that out if you're interested. But also, I had some very kind listeners to our show message me throughout this week. Dark Aries hit me up, and he sent me 3 Steam keys for the Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. And he wants me to do a giveaway for those. So I am currently trying to concoct what to do for a giveaway that would encourage people to participate to possibly win some games that are near and dear to my heart. I love that series. You know, the meta fourth wall breaking is just hilarious. I promise.
Those are the ones where you're like embodiments of like Sega consoles and stuff, right?
Yeah, Neptune's the embodiment of the Sega console. Noir's PlayStation. Vert's Xbox.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's really fun, and they have Doggoos, which I showed you guys this week. Which
yeah.
are like their play on slimes. And
They were fantastic.
One of the
and I
doggoos
liked
was
them.
named Goober. It was good.
But like, for instance, in one of the Hyperdimension Neptunia games, you'll see these little random people you can talk to, like on the little quote unquote world map that you have, and they're just NPCs that'll give you little tips, and it'll be like a dude peeking out from under a box, and his name will be like Snake something or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like little. You'll talk to a dude who looks like Luigi, who's just saying his brother is a fame hog, and little things like this. It's fun. And then Tux sent me 2 keys for Drawful 2 and You Don't Know Jack Sports edition. So I'm going to figure out a way to make those available to people as well. I just wanted to throw that out there. So if anybody's got like any ideas for possible giveaway, or like would you guys rather try to take a quiz about the show? I just want ideas that I can kind of mull around in my head, because at the moment I haven't been able to come up with anything.
First person to beat Nate's speedrun record gets a copy of Raffle.
Oh man. 2 other quick things. I was playing PGA Tour today. Had an amazing game. 3 chip-in eagles. One of them was at 124 yards, so I was proud of that. It was a good game. I think I ended up ending that with like 23 under or something like that. It was impressive, even to me. And I screenshotted it because that'll probably never happen again, ever. And,
124 is a good chip. What's the longest you've ever put the ball in from? Because I mean, you might be on your way to your first hole in one.
In this game, that was my longest. Knocking the ball in was that one.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
And then one other thing that I had brought up in the Discord is that I started playing this game on a side called Blackthorn Arena, which is the gladiator game that I've always wanted. It's like a top-down, almost like Baldur's Gate-esque combat style, but then you also have to like run your Ludos, and you have to buy slaves and like turn them into gladiators, or whether they run your medic place with your torture chamber and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a sim thing combined with a gladiator fighting style game. It's really a good time. I enjoy it.
So do you just do the management of the arena, or you also have like tactics inside the gladiator fights too?
Oh no, yeah. You do the management, and you are like you can put fights on auto and just let your dudes go do the thing, or technically I think it's called real time with pause, because you can like hit space and it'll pause it, and then you can like tell this guy to go attack this person, then use this move, and then when you unpause it, they'll go and do what you told them to do.
Okay.
And there's been some cool battles, man, because there's a bunch of different armors and weapons that you can use for your different people. It's the funniest to me though, like when you go into a fight and the other people are like, "You'll never leave this arena alive," and then like 2 seconds after they say that, I eviscerate them and they die. Yeah.
Classic Skyrim bandit overconfidence.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man. Did you guys play anything else interesting this week?
All I've really played this week, my man, is Knights and Fallout 3.
Word up. Well, we can save the Fallout 3 chatter for next week.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Then let's go ahead and get into it, man.
Hit us with the OWBS, my dude.
Yes. Nights into Dreams is a 1996 action game developed by Sonic Team and published by Sega for the Sega Saturn. Now, I already have something to say. I never would have guessed that Sonic Team did this.
Yeah, it's interesting because I looked this up too, and this is the first game they made after Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And I was like, really? This is where they went right after Sega Genesis, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I was really surprised by that as well.
The story follows teenagers Elliot Edwards and Clarice Sinclair. I think that would be Clarice or Clarice.
I was saying Clarice.
I've been saying Clarice, yeah.
Who enter Nightopia, a dream world where all dreams take place. With the help of knights and exiled Nightmarin, they begin the journey to stop an evil ruler, Wise Man, from destroying Nightopia and consequently the real world. Player to control knights flying through Elliot and Clarice's dreams to gather enough energy to defeat Wise Man and save Nightopia. The game is presented in 3D and imposes time limits on every level, which the player must accumulate points to proceed. And yeah, the development began after the release of Sonic and Knuckles in 1994. Although the concept originated in 1992, much like moi. That's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to see what the 1992 version of this game would look like, because if they wanted to bring it out for the... I mean, maybe they thought of it as a 32X launch title or an arcade game, too, not a Genesis game, because there's no way...
I was thinking maybe they had like something like Sonic 3D Blast in mind.
Oh man, you might be right. Something like isometric instead of having the shifting perspective.
Yeah, it might not have been a great time.
This paragraph on the Wikipedia just throws in the most random... So listen to this real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. I'm sorry. It's just this took me by surprise. Okay, so development was led by Sonic Team veterans Yuji Naka, Naoto Oshima, and Takashi Izuku. I think is Izuka. Is that how you say that? Naka began the project with the main idea revolving around flight, and Oshima designed the character Knights to resemble an angel that could fly like a bird. Oshima designed Knights as an androgynous character. The team conducted research on dreaming and REM sleep and was influenced by the work and theories of psychoanalysts Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. An analog controller was designed alongside the game to be sold with some retail copies. So, like, what the fuck?
That's a really shotgun
that
paragraph.
kind of bounced all over the place, my dude.
It's just like right there in the middle. They're like, oh yeah, they studied psychoanalysts for this game, by the way. And it's like, why? Why did you study psychoanalysts for this game?
This game brought to you by Carl Jung and the Sega Saturn 3D controller. Two concepts that mesh perfectly.
And the last little bit of obligatory Wikipedia bullshit that I have is the Nights into Dreams received acclaim for its graphics, gameplay, soundtrack, and atmosphere. It has appeared on several lists of the greatest games of all time. A shorter Christmas-themed version, Christmas Nights, was released in December of 1996. And it was ported to Nights into Dreams was ported to PlayStation 2 in 2008 in Japan, and a high-definition version was released worldwide for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Windows in 2012. A sequel, Nights Journey of Dreams, was released on the Wii in 2007.
Yeah, I kind of want to seek that out now. Like, I might want to stop by the used game store just to see if I can see that somewhere, and if it's not too terribly expensive, pick up a copy, because that'd be interesting to see what they did with it on a more powerful, I guess, console.
Yeah, I would be interested in that too. I don't have a Wii, and obviously since you don't have Wiimotes, emulating Wii is kind of a pain in the ass. But I would be interested in seeing that. I wonder if there's like maybe some YouTube footage I could look. I'd just like to see what the aesthetic that they kept the same vibe. You know, that's interesting. So first thoughts. Also, did you play remaster or the original? Willie, what's up?
I want to jump right in before I even say first thoughts, because I'd seen this game, video clips of it when I was a kid. I'd seen it before. I knew what the characters looked like. I had no idea what the gameplay actually was in this. Like, I didn't know if it was like a shooter or a platformer or what. So I thought, like, before we even got any further, I'd like to say what you do in this game to make anything we say in the future make a little more sense.
That's fair.
Go ahead,
so
man.
it is it starts off almost like a platformer, because you're in control of a character, like the kid you pick at the beginning of the game. There's two kids that go into the dream. They meet a character named Knights, and Knights is your main avatar in the game. Your character meets Knights, that you play as Knights, and they fly around and all that. The Knights sequences are this, I guess you could say, 2.5D flying game. It's you control by like flying around. It's not really a platform. It's not really like exactly like any other game I've ever played. You have there's a little bit of momentum. You kind of loop around and stuff as you fly if you want to. You have kind of not fully momentum based controls, but there is elements of drag and all of that to it.
I do want to say I did not figure out that you could loop around stuff and it would give it all to you at once until I had completed 2 levels of each of the characters. Yeah. So, yeah, just continue.
It took a while before I realized that was a major mechanic that you actually have to do, like, to get decent times, because the main mechanics of the game seem to be collecting stuff. Like, you go through rings or you pick up stars or chips, and that's how you get a combo going. It calls it links, and your combo is like your highest score element. But you also, each level, each dream is divided into 4 mirrors, which is like acts in Sonic. You go around different paths on the same course, and your goal is to pick up 20 of these blue orbs, and you collect the blue orbs and find it's called the Idea Collector, or Idea Capture, and you hit that, and then you go to the end of the stage, and then it starts you on the next level. You have 120 seconds for each mare, and then once you've hit the thing, you have bonus time until you get to the end of the thing, and you repeat that 4 times, and you go to a boss fight where you mostly will be like, you don't have like regular attacks in this game. Your dash is kind of a move that touches things and tries to set them up for an
which
attack.
is kind of similar to the thing that Sega
around
does, you know, like your attack, you only have really one button that does anything in Sonic games, and the same kind of applies to Knights.
Yeah. I mean, there's a trick button on the joystick, the pads, the side buttons. But
what? There is?
Is there?
Yeah, but you only get points for tricking if you're in... You know when you go through the white and blue loop and it gives you a yellow ribbon behind you that you get more points from? If you hit the corner buttons during that, the bumpers, you do a trick and it adds to your little multiplier.
Oh, no shit.
I did not know that at all. Okay.
It's a teeny tiny thing. I mean, you scored a lot better than I did. I know you didn't use it.
Apparently, the little Nightkin, or whatever they're called, the little dudes that are running around, that are like the friendly Nightopians, the little friendly ones, you can make them mate and produce an egg, like, and shit. And I was like, what? That is such a strange mechanic to just throw into this game.
It's a very Sega thing.
It's like Chow Garden in Sonic Adventure. You know?
I don't know. I've never played Sonic Adventure.
Oh my god.
I do own it though. I do own it.
But so that's what I was going to say is like, so you're flying around and you got kind of a semi 3D flight. You don't fly backwards into the stage, except sometimes the camera kind of rotates beside you and then you're flying into the stage for certain short elements of it. But for the most part, it's very freeform, soaring, diving, looping around, accelerating, and trying to just pick up all the stuff, get these combos, find the right routes through things. There aren't a lot of enemies, and most of the enemies don't really try to hurt you, or at least they can't really unless you just walk right into them. And so it's mostly, I don't know, once you know the paths, it seems like it's a pretty soothing game.
Did either of you ever run out of time?
Once.
Oh boy, I should mention what happens when you run out of time, because that's actually so. If you get to 0 time in the level, you lose your fusion with knights, and that means you fall down onto the level. You're no longer knights or the kid you started out as. You're not flying anymore. You just have a little arrow pointing you back towards the start of the level, where you've got to try to get to there before an egg with an alarm clock
timer egg
chases you
the
down.
Timer egg, yeah. That motherfucker's so annoying.
It makes a really loud and unpleasant noise. Yeah.
What I was impressed though is when you do if you do run out of time and you fall and you're the character, is that when you approach, like, say, a big cliff that you need to go over to get to where you're going, like, they will climb up it. Like, they programmed it to, like, the characters will climb.
Yeah.
Which I found to be awesome. Like, it's not like, I don't know, what's some other games where you have to just try to jump over them.
It's just very forgiving when you're playing as the kids. Oh, yeah, no, it's not like Skyrim. The cliffs are very much just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You can jump pretty high. It's just you don't want to be playing as the kids, because if you lose knights and you become the kids. Knights is the weird character that you've seen on the box art, by the way. Their name is Knights. I'm saying they because it's supposedly designed to be a completely androgynous character. I get the impression, personally, Knights reminds me a lot of when a small grown woman plays a little boy in theater. Like, it makes me think of Mr. B Natural. Not great. Kind of creepy.
See, I looked at it as this is good Kefka.
Good Kefka.
Yeah, it has jestery vibes. You said angel. Like,
yeah, I definitely got more jester than angel, but I buy the androgyny thing because honestly, I can't really assign a gender to it. Not that would be my job anyway. But you play as the same avatar character as both Claris and Elliot, so no matter which one you do, and there's 2 of them at the end, so I do buy that.
We need a ROM hack of this with knights changed into gold dust.
Oh god,
it's pretty good.
That'd be
fantastic.
But yeah, guys. So like we said, with gameplay, like, and everything. What were your first impressions? Start with you, Willie, because I know you gave the whole big detail. But what were your first impressions when you actually got in there and first started playing it?
I really thought the moment I got in there, I got really confused at first because the game doesn't make it real obvious where to go. But the more I started to figure out, the more I realized, if I'd grown up with this game, I probably would have played it every few months all the time. Like, it seems like the kind of game that's really rewarding once you've got over the original hump. Like, and it's really whimsical. Like, there's a really good feeling to flying around, and the dreamlike settings is super cool. Like, there's a lot of weird dream logic in the game that just, I don't know, I thought it was really neat.
What about you? For me, when I first got into it, first thing you notice is just how it's a really cute game. Like, everything about it's really cute. And like you were saying, to its credit earlier, how like those later than PS1 kind of era polygonal graphics hold up pretty decently. I thought the polygonal graphics really actually still looked pretty good from this one as well. The character designs, I really thought they were cute. I liked the knights a lot. I thought the the kids were just kind of like, generic anime kids, but they were fine for what they were. But one thing is, it definitely did not play the way I expected it to. I expected more of like, when you're flying in a Spyro game, you have like X, Y, and Z axis control of where Spyro goes. But in a game like this, you only had control like 2 of the axes at once. Sometimes it'd be the X and Y, and sometimes it'd be like the X and Z axis. So it's kind of interesting the way they handled that.
Yeah, I absolutely expected the flying to be like, kind of like you said, Spyro, like kind of gliding intermediate between platforming sections of a game. Like, I didn't think that was going to be the main gameplay mechanic.
And then the other thing is like, You know, it was really cute. And, like, I played 2 levels, and then I put it down, came back to it later. But the other thing that I thought, it took me a minute to figure out how to destroy that little cylinder thing, and that was that you collected the orbs. So I was, like, collecting all the stars, all the orbs, trying to get everything, and then eventually I realized it was just the orbs that counted towards destroying the thingamajig. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, the little alien Brainiac-looking floating thing, yeah.
What about you, Dalton? When you first booted in, what'd you think?
Well, my very first thought was I thought it was cool that they included the remastered version and the original Saturn version, which I did play both, and I'll say that I'll totally admit that the remastered version looks better. I like the aesthetic of the Saturn version. There's something to me about 3D, but then like the things you're collecting are 2D, but they look really nicely incorporated, and there's just something about the way that those mesh together that I personally really enjoy.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I would have played in the Saturn mode too, because I only played the remastered version because I was trying to do everything in it. But now I'm kind of like, I should go back and take a look at that because that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I recommend that you pop in and check it out. Like it's definitely it holds up really well. Like that art style, I think really does. It made me curious to check out some other Saturn games to see what they looked like, you know. My first impressions of this game is I fucking hated it. Let me rephrase that. I loved the graphics. I loved the music. The gameplay itself had to grow on me. I had issues with, like, I'm so used to, like, inverted flight controls that when I went into it with this, it took me a while to get used to up is up and down is down.
Yeah.
You know, but once I got that like down pat, it was easier.
At times it feels less like flight controls and more almost like you're drawing with the thumbstick.
Yeah,
you get that feeling?
Absolutely. Like you're trying to just make circles and lines, trying to piece these things together. I did enjoy the gameplay loops where they would change them up every time you'd run through. You weren't going through the same loop each time. I absolutely 125% fucking hate the boss fights in this game.
Yeah.
The first one that I did wasn't so bad, which was the first boy boss, and I don't particularly remember what it was. It wasn't very memorable to me. The one that sticks out in my head that would drive me crazy, I believe, was Claris, and it was the like frog snake thing.
Yeah, the really long tail. Yeah,
you had to hit it under its jaw, dude. After doing that like 6 times, and he had some tail left, I was like, I get the point.
Yeah,
what the fuck.
I agree with that point a lot, that the boss fights drug on a little bit longer than they needed to, and they weren't exactly signposted very well, so there were some you had to like figure out what to do, and it could take you that whole first boss attempt to figure that out, and then like once you figure it out, like, oh. And then you could go back and play the whole level and beat the whole level again, and then have to beat the boss.
Yeah.
That was my big complaint.
There's no live system in this game. If you run out of time during the boss fight, you're done. It's very frustrating because the game doesn't really communicate what you're supposed to do on the boss fights. To my perspective, out of 7 boss fights in the game, there were 2 good ones.
Which were they?
So, it's the one where you were up against the kind of inflatable balloon lady that you had to keep pushing to the right. That one was actually kind of cool because it was pretty obvious what you were doing the moment.
Yeah,
you
that was my favorite one.
And then I thought the final boss was actually pretty acceptable.
Word. See, I didn't see either of those. I didn't get that far. There was a boss that I got to, and it was whichever. Man, I wish I could remember what it was called or what it was even like, because I played it one time and went nope and set it down. It was whichever one was after. It was Claris, where you had to do there was like the big giant demon doggy thing hopping between the rockets with the mouse.
Yeah.
That took me like 5 tries to figure out how to beat that one, and then once I did, it was the next level that I just gave up.
I can't remember the order of all the bosses, unfortunately, but I do remember that rocket boss that you were talking about, and that was one of the ones that took me 2 tries to get through, but once I figured out how to do it, it wasn't so bad. But I don't know, to me, I didn't have as much issue with the bosses as you guys did, and I'm not sure why that is. Like, I might have lost to it the first time, but the second time I got to it, I'd always beat it. So like the levels generally only took me 2 tries to get through, if not 1.
most levels took me 2 tries, but I found that really upsetting because no matter how well I did my first run of the level, it didn't matter because I was going to get 120 or fewer seconds to look at a boss, not have it be obvious that I was doing damage to it, especially the first time I faced the first boss on Claris's level. And, like, it just really turned me off to play through the whole thing and be like, you didn't do this task. You don't get a, turn back into Claris and run around the level thing. You don't get a continue. You don't get anything. It's just all your high score or whatever you did, completely meaningless.
Yeah,
and I wonder if that was an intentional decision at some point, because this is a very short video game, and I wonder if they made it like kind of like trial and error so that it would take you more than one try to get through something. I wonder if that might have been slightly intentional.
Yes, it does. But that's the problem, is there are 2 separate trial and error phases you have to go through before you can even finish the game. Because first there's that, clearing every stage, where you actually figured out how to beat the boss and get through all the levels without running out of time and all that. But to get to the final stage, you also have to get a B grade, or a C grade or higher. There's a grading system in the game where if you don't get enough points, or if you don't get a fast enough time on the boss, because that depletes your multiplier for your final score, you don't get a high enough grade, you can't go to the last level. So I felt like, first off, I had this weird feeling when I was trying to learn the game, like I was studying for an exam. Like, first I had to try to beat it to pass it, then I had to try to get a good grade in it. And it just... It made it a lot rougher, and I get the feeling that if I go back in now, I'm going to have a lot more fun with it, because I'm not trying to bang my head against beating it. I'll be able to explore different routes instead of do what I know works to get a certain level. And, like, if I weren't playing the game for a podcast, I'd like it a lot more, and I think I'm going to come back to it and really like it. But man, those opening learning curve issues are rough. It's like it feels like, to make a non-video game analysis, it's like if someone told you the rules of chess and then asked you to play chess, and you had no idea why any move was good or bad because all you knew was the rules of the game. And you lose the game and you're like, I don't know if I want to play this anymore because I'm not yet seeing why it's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like at the point where I'm like, I can see why this is going to be fun if I get better.
I think my biggest issue with it was that when you died on a boss, it started you all the way over at the back at the beginning of the level. Yeah. Like, that just drove me crazy. And that's just a quality of life thing that's improved over the years, and like you said, artificially making it longer because it's a pretty short game, like you said. I think you beat it in a couple hours.
Yeah, so like I have a total of 3 hours into this game, and that is including the after the game content that they included as well. And I want to talk about that in a little bit, but I'm saving that up for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, it only took about 2.5 hours to beat. I didn't finish both kids' final stage. I just did all their regular stages, got at least passing, I finished the level grade, and then I did the Elliot stages, got the C's, and did Elliot's final stage.
Now, 2 things. One, I did not realize this, but there is a Nights into Dreams themed pinball area in Sonic Adventure.
Yep.
And wait, I didn't even know there was pinball in that game, so that's cool. That's just something I saw in here. 2, I cannot figure out what the fuck this game is about.
Oh man, I would 100% with you there, because like I played through the whole game, like the whole time, just enjoying it for what it was. And every time there was no story build up like in the game at all. So you just go from level to level and finish all the different dreams and everything.
Yeah.
Which made the ending of the game for each character really confusing, but kind of hilarious at the same time.
There's story in the manual of the game and the help files and all that, and then people have compiled all the information into a wiki so I can kind of tell you what's happening in it. But man, it's really strange if you go in there without even looking up what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah, because I went into this game without any manual or anything like that, because I kind of wanted the blind experience. But the thing about this era of video games that I sometimes forget is there is stuff in the manual that is relevant to the game. Like, I bet the manual would have told me if I did the trigger buttons, I could do tricks while I was doing my flips.
So the main story is that there's these 2 kids who they're under a lot of stress lately. Elliot is a young boy who he likes to play basketball, shoot some hoops after school, but a couple guys who are up to no good started making trouble in his neighborhood. So he starts getting bullied by high school kids, and it causes him a lot of stress because he's, this is his favorite pastime activity, and he's just stressed out. And so that causes him to be really anxious, and it causes him to have nightmares. The other kid, Clarice, has a recital coming up for her vocal performance, and she's like super nervous about that. And she overheard one of the judges make a disparaging remark that she took to being about her. So both of them are freaking out about something that's coming up in the near future, and that's caused them to be really anxious. And so when they sleep, they're going into a nightmare realm pretty often. The nightmare realm is called Nightmare. The naming in this game is really bad. Everything has really bad names. The terms mare, nightmare, and nightmare and all refer to different... Or the terms nights, nightmare, and mare all refer to different things. So you end up in the world called Nightmare, but you're having a nightmare or whatever. And Nightmare is ruled over by this horrible thing called Wiseman. And Wiseman wants to take over the world, the real world, by corrupting people through Nightmare. And then corrupting NiGHTopia, which is the land of good dreams. So that way he can get into the real world. So when your kids were in Nightmares, they met Knights, who was a former servant of Wiseman, but now he's kind of rebelling against him and helping the people of the good dream dimension, NiGHTopia. And the thing is, whenever you pop into a dream, he kind of helps calm you down. You go into a regular dream instead. You pop into there, though, and Nightmarans, which are the servants of Nightmare, see, this is getting weird, attack you, and they take your... God, hold on. I have this pulled up because it was one of the weirder elements of the story.
It's hey, kid, I heard you like nightmares. So we took nightmares and nights and mares and put them into more nightmares.
Yep. So you have something called... basically, every person in the world has like these 5 virtues called ideas, which are like these these abilities that tie into your mental strength and your dream status. And when you hop into the level at the beginning, 4 little monsters attack you and take 4 of yours, but you still have this red one beside you. And that's why you're like powerful enough to fight back, because the red one symbolizes courage, and only the people that have the ability to hold on to their courage have the ability to fight back against Nightmare. And then when you go through the level, every time you hit the Idea capture, which is the thing you break open with the 20 chips, that releases one of the elements. So there's the white Idea of purity, the blue Idea of intelligence, the green Idea of wisdom, and the yellow Idea of hope. So once you get all 4 of those elements back, then you can join up with knights and fight in the Nightmare world.
Could they not have just licensed Dragon Ball Z?
It's absolutely MacGuffin. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's so silly, and it makes no sense. It's hilarious.
I love how simultaneously it's overcomplicated and over-explained, but it explains nothing. It's very dream logic.
I was going to say...
And I don't know, I feel like that's kind of like how dreams are. You sometimes get into a dream, right? And you just gotta do something in that dream. You know what I mean? Like, you fall asleep and you're in a dream and you just gotta do something. It's something you have to do. It's a class you've never heard of before, but you gotta go take the final and all that. And I kind of think that kind of dream logic is weirdly well captured in this game's story and in its environments.
The story of this game, it reminds me of, like, okay, so grindcore bands, like the bands that just pig squeal and just... And there's no actual lyrics, but if you look at their lyrics, the entire song has a whole lyrics, like, that are written out. But when you listen to the dude, he's just going like for like 3 minutes and doesn't say a damn word. But yet the lyrics will be like, yes, the prodigy of the forthcoming Tower of Time is that's exactly what this makes me think of.
So I'm the guy that looked at the lyric sheets, but y'all definitely didn't hear any of these lyrics, because where would you have got any of that if you just played the game?
And the interesting thing too is, like, I know, Dalton, did you get any ending of the game, or did you kind of...
No.
I know you got, you got Elliot's ending.
I got Elliot's ending, the basketball ending.
Where he just, like, dunks on the kids, and now they're his, like, oh my gosh, this guy's awesome. Clarice's is just pretty similar, where she's doing the audition thing, and then, like, the director's sitting in his chair, getting all sleepy, watching the other kids do their audition, and then she comes up and starts singing, and he's like, he starts applauding like crazy. So it's very simple endings. And the thing about this story to me is, like, I'm not sure who it's for. Because, like, I understand that it's obviously for a younger demographic, but even thinking to myself at that, what I would assume would be the correct age, the story's not interesting. Like, it's not a story about being a hero or a pirate or a dragon. It's just kind of like, this kid wants to sing and this kid wants to play basketball. I mean, that's awesome, but it's not really, the story that would grab me, you know what I mean?
Maybe it's one of those stories about ordinary people finding their problems really extraordinary despite being mundane. They visualize it to be too much, and then they go out and have to fight kind of what's going on in their mind, like the TV show Doug or Parappa the Rapper.
That's
you know,
true.
both of those were small problems became larger than life. I think that's
That
what
makes
they're going
sense.
for.
Like Hey Arnold too. Yeah.
Yeah, hey Arnold, that's
Was there? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but is there another ending to this? Because this little thing I'm reading on the wiki says, once in Nightopia, they discover and release knights who tells them about their dreams and Wise Man and his plans. 3 begin a journey to stop Wise Man and restore peace to Nightopia. But this is the part that's a little different. When they defeat Wise Man and Rila, peace is returned to Nightopia and the world of nightmares suppressed. The next day, back in Twin Seeds, a centenary ceremony begins, and Elliot is seen walking through the parade until he has a vision of knights looking at him through a billboard. Realizing that Clarice is performing in a hall, Elliot runs through the crowd to see Clarice on the stage in front of the audience. The two look at each other, and then it transitions to a Spring Valley in Nightopia, which leaves ambiguity as to whether what they achieved was real or just another dream.
Yeah, I definitely saw that piece of the ending. So, like, I wonder if that's one
okay.
that you have to beat both to get. But yeah, I saw that, but it didn't leave much of an impression on me either, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like this game's definitely in it for the experience, not for the story type.
Yeah, because like I know we're talking a lot about the story and how it doesn't make sense, but I want to hammer home that doesn't mean that I think it's in any way a bad game. I thought the experience in itself, and like they were talking about how it was a little bit frustrating and confusing that the levels aren't well signposted things. But I think that being said, there still are a lot of fun to play. The controls actually grew on me the more I played it. So like I'm the only one that played through the entirety of the game. So and the more I played, the more I've really found myself enjoying it. I love the graphic style, and the gameplay was fine. The bosses, I get why they are really frustrating on a first playthrough when you don't know what to do with them, but I think on a second playthrough or anything like that, you'd have it kind of down.
But I think that's also a problem I had with the boss fights, is they are extremely difficult when you don't know what's going on, and then trivial afterward. I don't think there's a midpoint where the boss fights are a good challenge.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. But at the same time, just like the boss fights weren't what interested me so much in this game. It was the actual gameplay and the stages.
Me neither. That's why it bummed me out that I lost on them, because the parts I liked I was doing well in, and then it told me this irrelevant mini game meant that I didn't pass.
I can definitely get that for sure.
But like the stages are really cool. A lot of them are just kind of regular Earth biomes, but there was one stage called, I wrote it down, Soft Museum: The Confusion, and that level is like you have a lot more indoor areas too, and you're kind of, when you fly up towards these walls that are kind of like doors, they bend inward.
Oh, that level,
weird, like, Archie type vibe. It has this like melty, non-real, fluid, like indoor and outdoor at the same time feeling that's really dreamlike, and I thought that level captured the goal of the game in a really cool way. And like, I'm not saying I wish every level was like that one, because the level had some gimmicks to it. The fully outdoor levels had their free form feeling to them, and those were really neat in their own way too. I really like those stages. I just kind of wish there was like one or two more like that, and not necessarily just like green stage, wet stage, ice stage, other ice stage.
Yeah, I think that is one of the ways this game falls short, is that it's short. You know, I feel like this game, and maybe that's what the Wii game does, should have been expanded on to where each of the characters had like 6 or 7 stages and then the bosses just made a little bit more sense and weren't as big a part of it. Maybe some levels didn't even have bosses and they were saved for when they actually felt inspired by what they wanted to do with them. But I just think that the game could have used more of those stages where you're flying around and collecting the items, because I was bummed when I got done and found that there were really only 7 stages. I was like, I kind of wanted more. Like, that's one thing it did. It left me wanting more. Yeah.
I can say this, man. I mean, it left me wanting more, but also in a way that I feel like I could be satisfied hopping back in and trying to beat what I did last time. Like, I feel like I could enjoy this game. I think I'll enjoy it more the more I play it, you know? It's just, like, I'm not trying to knock down this game as a game. I think it's actually incredible. I'm saying it's hard to get over the initial hump from a 1995 game in 2021 unless you're willing to put about 3 hours into learning the mechanics, the basics, and the courses.
According to howlongtobeat.com, the sequel is exactly double the length.
Okay. That might be good.
Like,
That worked for Portal, man.
this Nights into Dreams, it says main story 2.5 hours, and the other one, the sequel, is 5 hours.
What's the sequel called?
Knight's Journey into
Night's
Dreams.
Journey into Dreams.
Knight's Journey of Dreams. Okay. This game costs $6.50.
Oh wow, that's
Cool.
So
that's a lot less than I was expecting.
I might go try to search that out this week because that is actually completely worth it. I checked price charting just now and I'm like, yeah, I think that's worth less than $10 to me just to find out what it's like.
If you pick that up, give it a couple of spins and tell us about it next episode, because I honestly might play Knights some more after this week. I'm kind of not feeling Fallout per se, and because I feel like just because I had a rough start with this game doesn't mean I'm not going to like it more.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Dalton.
I was just say I totally see why people rave about the music in this game though. It was really good, very catchy, and it fit the aesthetic that they were going for.
I'm going to say that the music in this game mostly was great. The stage music and the boss music I loved. Title music I'm not fond of, and the credits theme. Me and Nate kind of talked about this one a little bit before we started today. Nate, I don't know if you wanted to lead in on this one because I don't think Dalton would have got here, but
it's really interesting because
they made some decisions
made for sure.
It's a vocal song.
So the music, like they said, was really cute and it fit the themes of the level of the game. And then there was the credit song, which for some reason had a very 90s R&B kind of flavor to it. But
yeah, it feels like a Janet Jackson song.
And the singers, the adult singers that they had doing it were actually really good. They sounded fantastic. But they also had like two children, which I'm assuming a boy and a girl singing in the background. And oh my god, they were so pitchy and ridiculous sounding compared to the song. Like it really just kind of was just like so jarring compared to the rest of the song. It was just like, what are they doing here?
I think I remember reading that if you 100% this game and get max scores on every level, that those children's voices change into adult voices.
I saw something like that in the I saw something like that in the wiki page for the song. The song is called Dreams Dreams, and I don't know what. Like when I first heard it, I asked Nathan like, "Why they got Kids Bop on the final song?" Man? And then it's like you hear the kids kind of singing. It's very like, I don't mean to be mean because I think it's a deliberate stylistic choice. They're having the kids sing in this very "all I want for Christmas is my two front teeth" kind of way. And apparently there's an adult only version of the song that I guess you get if you get like all A's or something, all B's, something like that. It says something about it in the page, but it's not very distinct. But one thing I thought I was reading about this, I thought this was really cool. The kid who sings the young girl voice on this one, what was the name? Jasmine Allen, comes back to sing the adult woman voice on this version of this song that's played in the Knight's Journeys into Dreams.
Nice.
It's like 11 years later or something like that. So I thought that's kind of neat,
really cool. I like that a lot. So one thing I want to say too about this version of the game, unless y'all had anything else about the actual game itself.
Oh, I was about to ask you about Christmas Dreams. So
yes. So what I was going to say was, it's like when I finished the game, as both characters, it puts this cute little splash screen up after the credits saying Christmas Nights is now available, and I was like, I didn't know what that was coming into it. I was like, is this like a second game or something that's included after I beat the first game? And I was just like, all right, I'm down. Let's check this out. So what it really was, in all honesty, was just a reskin of the first stage of the game where everything is super festive. Like the capsule that you have to defeat looks like a Christmas bell. Like the little stars you pick up are like Christmas stars, and there's like ornaments everywhere, and everything's snowy and green with lights. And it was just so charming. I loved it so much. It made me so freaking happy the whole time I was in there. And they put this little cheesy backstory about how the kids were saving Christmas at the beginning of it too. So it was whatever. It was a little sad that like you had to play through it as both Clarice and Elliot. It was the same level for both characters, and it was with the same first level boss, like the one that you were talking about, Dalton, like with the froggy with all the tails.
Yeah.
So you had to fight that twice, essentially, to get the ending of Christmas Nights. But in all honesty, I didn't care. I just thought it was so charming and wonderful that how they put that together. Like, I recommend, if y'all don't want to play to get to it, like, look up a YouTube video of it because it's really adorable. And I just didn't expect that at all. I didn't know what I was getting into. It just made me happy. Gave me the warm fuzzies all over. It made my whole night when I got there.
Yeah, see, and that's like...
Your whole night into dreams.
I thought that maybe that would be one of those things that only unlocks during December. You know what I mean? Or like, because there are certain games that do that. Like Batman does that with Calendar Man. Like, you go talk to Calendar Man on Labor Day, and he'll say something about it being fucking Labor Day. You know what I mean? It's just like a little weird shit like that. But it was cool to me that like when you said that you had beat it, and then you were like, oh, wait a minute, and then you said that it gave you Christmas dreams. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then it gave me something else when I beat Christmas Nights, but it was just more of like showing you the collection of the, I can't remember their names, Nightopians and Nightmares, and Meepians, whatever. So it would show you the collection of what you had there. So it told you where you could go back to other stages and get more of them if you wanted to collect them all, but I wasn't super interested in that. I just really cared about playing the game and playing the levels, and Christmas Nights was great.
Yeah.
I see you got an achievement for moving a car or something?
Yeah, so I didn't even do this on purpose necessarily, but there was this one level where, like, do you remember the one where it was like an overhead view of you, and you could go left and right and forward and backwards instead of, like, the normal horizontal axis? Well, if you look underneath you, there was a car going in, like, driving around that area, and you could lead that car into a garage, and if you led that car into the garage, it unlocked that achievement.
Oh.
It was cute,
cool.
In that area, I couldn't figure out if you could go down or not, because I saw that there was a bunch of stuff like below where I was at, and I couldn't figure out how to get it.
I don't think you could go down. I think that was on like another mare, like another loop of the level. So I think you were going underneath it first, and then on that mare you were flying over it, so you couldn't swoop down and get it.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I guess that was one of my little frustrations, was just not knowing whether a mare was going to fade into the background or I was going to fade into the background because it was for another mare when I was trying to complete stuff. But now that I've played through it and I kind of know at least the basics of how to pass a level, it feels like I have more time to explore and go freeform.
Yeah, I think one thing that'd be really interesting about this game, playing it on a second or third playthrough, is just like coming up with your routing and kind of perfecting how you want to go through each stage.
I'm still not entirely sure whether trying to get all 20 chips and get out of the level is more efficient than taking extra laps with the bonus points.
I couldn't figure that out either. Like, there were times where I kind of feel like you wanted to take your time. I don't think the time bonus was as important as getting more things, because generally the longer I took, the better my score was. So I think there's probably a difference between going for 100% A completion and speed running the game. I might be wrong about that. I haven't done any research, but that's the way it felt while I was playing it.
I think that sounds right. I think that the time bonus is kind of flat, whereas the bonus points you'll get from getting all 20 chips and getting to the Idea collector as fast as possible, and then getting that double score bonus for the rest of the level, and then just flying around. I think that should scale better.
I think so
getting all
too.
those extra points from tricking and picking up stuff, especially if you can get long links together. Because when I first got going, I couldn't get a link of more than a chain of more than 7 links at the start. But by the end, I was doing 30 at a time, and I was like, "Holy shit, this feels incredible!"
So, this was the best-selling game on the Saturn.
I believe that.
It was the 21st best-selling game in '96.
Well, wasn't it a launch title with the Saturn too? So it was probably pack-in, and then a game that most people that wanted the Saturn would have gotten. It's like saying Wii Sports is the best-selling game of all time, but that's just because the Wii was such an incredibly selling system, and it came with every single one.
Yeah, that's fair. Would you guys like to know?
It looks like there weren't a lot of when it came out in the U.S. The only games available, actually, Nights into Dreams didn't come out.
Oh, really?
When it came out in the U.S. It was a later release. Remember they did that stupid thing with the Saturn where they did, and it's releasing today, and most of the stores didn't know about it yet.
Sega.
Yeah, so they didn't even have, the only good game they had finished was Panzer Dragoon, Virtua Fighter, and Clockwork Knight. Then they had a couple sports games and something called.
I don't remember Clockwork Knight.
Yeah, Clockwork Knight's a title I remember, but I think it was like a little cute toy thing.
Yeah, releasing a big expense item like a video game system, saying it's out today, no one has planned to buy it. You're not going to sell them on that day. Bad choice, Sega.
Yeah.
And I think that's historically known now, but...
they got spooked so bad by PlayStation. PlayStation was undercutting them every step of the way, and they thought that was their one chance to get sales in before it came out. Because they got when they did the first thing, they had the whole thing where they had the Saturn announcement. And they showed all these cool games that were going to come out with a Saturn release, and they said they came out and they're like, "How is it going to be $400?" And then PlayStation guy just comes up to the microphone, coughs, goes $299, and just leaves. And like from that moment on, Saturn was like playing catch up.
So the year that it came out, these are Japanese sales, by the way. The top 10 games, gentlemen. Number 10.
Yeah, I'm super curious. Would you say it was 96?
It's 1996, and Knights was number 21 on this list. Knights beat Persona. The first Persona is number 22. Number 10, Dargon Quest 6.
I was like,
which is just hilarious to me.
That is funny.
Got them Dagrons.
Number 9 surprises me. I actually sent you guys a screenshot of this game the other day. Toe Ball number 1, which is one of my favorite fighting games of all time.
It sold big. They just never came out with Toe Ball number 2.
No, yeah, they did. It's just it only released in Japan.
They never released it from my perspective as a kid in America in the 90s.
Number 8 was Arc the Lad 2.
These are games I remember hearing about that I haven't heard about a lot since then so far.
Number 7, the Dragon Quest 3 remake for the Super Famicom.
Oh, okay. I think that only came out in Japan, and that's all they needed.
Number 6 was Super Mario 64.
Wow.
So you're telling me 5 games outsold Mario 64. This is getting interesting.
Number 5, Derby Stallion 96.
What?
I think that one was also a Japanese-only release, but...
I've never heard of it.
I could get that. It was a racing simulation thing. Horse race simulation.
Number 4, Biohazard. Otherwise known in America as Resident Evil.
Okay. Yeah, that would do it. Wait, can I take a guess? You only have 3 left. I think... Has Metal Gear Solid come out yet? Because I think that might be in the last 3.
No, I think Metal Gear was 97.
97?
I believe.
Yeah. Parappa?
Nope.
I give
I
up.
was going to say, I'll tell you that the first 3, there's only one PlayStation game. Number 3, Super Mario RPG.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Well, I didn't realize that came out that late. Oh, my goodness.
Number 2, Tekken 2.
Huh.
Okay.
Number 1, and this is no surprise to anyone once I tell you, Pocket Monster, Red, Blue, and Green.
Oh. Yeah, that's... Pokemon was going to kill everything in Japan for a long time after that.
By about 600,000 units.
Yeah, no surprise there.
I mean, that coming out with 2 editions to sell was absolutely brilliant, because that means if you had brothers in your household, for instance, they weren't sharing a cartridge; they were playing against each other, one on the red, one on the green.
I think Pokemon is the reason
Japan,
we finally got 2 Game Boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't surprise me. I know, like when I had my Game Boy, it was like telling my friends, "Oh man, you should get a Game Boy and you should get Pokemon. We could trade Pokemon. Come on, please."
Yeah, I think Pokemon sold. Pokemon sold as many Game Boys as Tetris did. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you look at it long run.
So I just thought that was interesting, man. I'm like there's a lot of good games.
That's a cool snapshot of what was going on that era, because I mean, you have many different consoles at that point in time. You're talking about like Saturn, PlayStation, 64, Super Nintendo, Game Boy. I think they're probably, I don't know if arcade games would have counted for that, but like all of that all together is like, there's a lot of overlap in different flavors of game.
I mean, number 28, 27, and 26 are all Saturn games. Fighting Vipers, Virtua Fighter 2, and Tokimeki Memorial Forever with You.
That's a dating sim game.
Like
relationship, visual novel.
I like dating sims. I don't know what it is about them, like the visual novel. I like those. I can't explain why, because a lot of people find them just to be boring as fuck. But like, I don't know. I enjoy the chase, I guess.
I feel like I would like them, but I've only ever played ones that have a twist to them, like Doki Doki Literature Club or Hatoful Boyfriend.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a specific demographic or market for that kind of game, and it just doesn't appeal to me, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there's definitely a market for it.
I think like games like Persona, integrate it
Days
really
elements.
well.
Yeah.
And as far as they make it part of your party building, like getting to know your party members and building those character relationships, where then you can decide, well, do you like girl A, B, or C, and you can make them your girlfriend if you want, type thing, or you don't have to do that with any of them. It's a choice thing. I don't know. I think they do it very well. Yeah, man, gentlemen, is there anything else that you would like to bring up about Nights into Dreams?
I think I've covered everything that I need to about it. Want to go into ratings?
We doing game ratings or?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I would give this a solid 7.5 nights out of dreams.
That's cute. I like
Nights
that.
out of dreams. Finally, the reverse. Actually, 7.5 was literally what I was going to say, because I feel like I got a 7 experience out of a game that I could be giving a 9 to. It's kind of like Doom, where I don't want to oversell it before I finished it. But I'll go 7.5
Yeah,
as well.
and I did finish this game, and when I first finished the game, I was like, yeah, I actually came up with that number myself, 7.5. And then I got to play Christmas Nights, and it bumped it up a full half star, so it is 8 nights out of 10 dreams for me. I really like this game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised.
I
we
am
came
too.
to
I thought there was
consensus
going to be a
on this one
wider variety. I
because-
thought Dalton was going to go low on this one.
No, dude, I found this game very charming, and something about the way the graphic style is, and I'm going to say this again when we get to Trails in the Sky, Legend of Heroes. There's just something about the way they did it, that just tweaks this thing in my brain that makes me feel like 14 again, and it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. It's I don't know how to explain it. I guess it's nostalgia. Even though I have no nostalgia for this game, I have nostalgia for that style of animation and graphics.
Yeah, and I even remember when this game first came out, thinking that the night looked really, really cool. So it was a really fun experience for me to be able to play the game with that character in it, because I've always kind of enjoyed that character design a lot in playing the game.
Oh, can I finally be the counter guy on this one? Knight's character design is iconic, but I think they look like a smug little creep. When they did that boogity face in the intro credit, especially.
Yeah.
I think that it looks like it's very cutesy, but they're going to steal your socks while you're asleep. Yeah.
It's just like he knows, the Knights knows it's the best one involved. Like, I'm stronger than the Nightmareans, and the Nightopians ain't doing anything. I'm the one that's gonna be the smart. I don't know, man. I think that Knights has a sinister alter ego or a plan or something.
Yeah, and he poisons a water supply and kills a whole town and destroys the world. That's exactly what happens.
Son of a submariner.
Oh man. Well, gentlemen, that means next week is going to be our Fallout 3 wrap up. I am just about being fucking done with Fallout. I've put I'm basically at the point now where I'm just roaming around exploring, so hopefully I'll have some things to bring up. I do have one in particular that I hope you guys don't run into because I had issues and I'm max level.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it would be.
I believe I've seen a certain phrase you've used a few times that could be abbreviated to DCS.
Yeah. Stay away from the DCS. Okay. But we'll talk more about that next week. If you would like to find us on social media, you can go to facebook.com/The Steam Machine Podcast, or you can find us over on Twitter at Steam_podcast. You can check out the website like we mentioned earlier in the episode. It's steammachinepodcast.wordpress.com. Has all these cool little buttons you can press to take you to all this bullshit that I'm talking about. You want to check out the social medias? Boom, there's links there. You want to check out the merch site? Get you a nice Steam Machine Podcast t-shirt? Boom, there's a link there. You want to check out any of the 3 of our Twitch channels, which I will say that Nate's is the most active, and I'll let him tell you about that in just a second. Boom, there's a button there. And if you want to join the Discord, where you can come chat with us about video games, tell us what you like about the show, tell us what you hate about the show, give us ideas, or you can
Sell essay writing services.
Do what? I missed that, sorry.
I said sell essay writing services.
You want to
we have had a couple of spam bots.
You want to sell us essay writing services? Fuck yourself.
Please don't do that. It breaks Dalton's heart. He gets so excited when we get new people.
Yeah, I'll message these guys and be like, do you know this person? Hey, we don't know this person. Yay, new person.
Conversely, if you want to do the opposite of break, because he really does get excited. I'm not just playing this up for the like, like no, I'm serious. He really does. He's absolutely chuffed by it. It's really fun.
I feel like Sally Field. They really like us. They really like us. But yeah, it's a cool place, and most importantly, you can come and vote in the polls, and help choose what games come next. So, come join the Discord, be a part of our little crew. It's fun, man. It's a good time. Oh, yeah. Nate, tell everybody where they can find you on social medias and all your other places, good sir.
Yeah, you can find me streaming on Twitch on Sundays and Wednesdays at twitch.tv/TurtleBearman, and that is also the name I use on Twitter if you want to get alerted to when I go live on stream at my Twitch account, TurtleBearman.
Yes, and Willie, would you like to plug the social media stuff that you never use? No.
I'm going to plug tea. Drink a nice Irish breakfast tea. It tastes good.
I
don't know, man.
If I had to recommend a tea, I would recommend PG Tips. It's the most popular tea in Britain, and it's really good. And if you are like a southern jackass like me and you like sweet tea, it works for sweet tea too, and it's good. So I do suggest that. Also, go watch American Horror Story, motherfuckers. It's good. It's good. Well, I think that about does it for this week, gentlemen. Next week, Fallout 3 wrap up. After that, the short poll is looking. So I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about this right now. I had my vote for Tekken 7. I installed Tekken 7 and was playing it, and I'm not gonna lie, the DLC shit that they've got for Tekken 7, the fact that they've gotten 4 season passes for that game, when like I feel like if I would have bought one and then they released another and then another and then another, I'd have been pissed. So it kind of took me out of it, and there was this weird like where it kept like freezing for a frame and then going back into it. So I switched my personal vote over to Ubermosh. Personally, which because I just figured that'll be a cool short little game. I own like I think all the Ubermosh games, and I've never really played them much, so I thought that would be cool. But really, I am just absolutely 100% looking forward to starting Trails in the Sky.
Oh yeah, that's definitely an exciting one. I am too. So, but I definitely want to get the short game palate cleanser between Fallout and Trails before we get diving right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was funny because James messaged me the other night. Shout out James, the JRPG Report, our resident JRPG expert, or at least that's what I call him. I don't know if he would, claim that himself, but he messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, so Trails is coming up, huh?" He's like, "You gonna be needing me anytime soon?" And I said, "You probably have a few weeks, good sir." So I said, "No rush." And he was like, "Awesome, man." He goes, "I'm gonna, he's gonna check it back. I don't know if he's going to play through it again, but he might go revisit some stuff and kind of throw on that." So eventually, you guys will probably get a little bonus episode one of these weeks with me and James talking about that and getting his spiel, because he has been praising to me for all the years that I've known him now about how good the Legend of Heroes series is. And he actually, like when I was talking to him when I first was starting the show, I said, The Legend of Heroes, like Trails in the Sky, Trails of Cold Steel, I want to play them in order because it's one long story that gets told over all of these games. So, and it just so happens that I didn't have to work the system. Steamy gave me the first game to put up, so that was cool.
Perfect.
So yeah, we'll end it there. Next week we'll be back wrapping up Fallout 3. It'll be fun. They are the Brothers of Destruction, Nate and Willie, Turtle Bear Man, and Icebrand Studios. My name is Dalton. As always, guys, take it easy.